All right, welcome to the first Angry Cow in the living room. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here at the Rialto. Thanks so much to Seth and Nate for being amazing to work with, being not only willing to let this happen here, but excited and eager to make amazing things happen here. And hopefully we will continue to grow and get more and more folks as we continue. Tonight we've got an incredible feature, dear friend of mine. She has been Baldwin House resident, very recently Akron Soul Train resident. She's placed and won slams. She's an author of a book called Sagittariusly Blunt. She has an amazing laugh, an amazing smile. You get to see them, because every time I'm with Danielle, you get to see and hear those things, so I know that'll happen tonight. So Danielle's going to have 2 sets. We will do an open mic in between for anyone else who wants to come up and perform a piece. So it is my honor. What's that? You ready, Ted?
He's pointing to me. I'm like, yeah.
You can, Jason. Yeah, please. Come on up. Anybody.
Start writing, Jason.
So it is. Start writing. You have 20 minutes set or something here to write your first piece to perform in a few minutes. So it is a pleasure and honor to introduce amazing poet, my dear friend, Danielle Nicole Nikki Dixon.
All right, thanks everybody for coming out today. All right, well, you know what? I think I'm gonna start off with something that I've recently written, like within the last 30 days.
Woo! New shit.
I don't know what I'm gonna call it yet. I don't know if it's gonna be Hey Google or How to Care for a Boyfriend. I don't know yet. I'm still kicking them around. Hey Google, how do I care for a boyfriend? Do they come with tags on the insides of their t-shirts that say how much water and sunlight they need? Do I have to talk nicely to them like my houseplants? And oh my God, what do they eat? How often? Is it better to pick one in spring or in fall? And how do I test for ripeness? Do I tap his belly like a watermelon and listen for the hollow? If mine has not reached maturity, can I set him on the sunny windowsill with my tomatoes until he's ready? Is there a boyfriend hunting season? Do I need a license or a permit? Do we keep them indoors, or is it more humane to let them be free range? And how does one keep a free range boyfriend from wandering in through the neighbor's back door? Do you know how pissed I'll be if I put all this effort into a boyfriend and he shacks up at the neighbors? I already know not to get them wet after midnight. That's how you make gremlins. And those do not come housebroken. And I don't want to end up in jail for parental neglect when little Stripe burns the fucking city down. So maybe I'll just stay single. It's safer that way.
All right.
I like that.
Thanks.
I've asked Google all those questions.
We had started a conversation with somebody who's like, yeah, I haven't had a boyfriend so long, I don't even know what to do with one. Well, like, oh my God, what do they eat? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna hold you to that now. I'm gonna try it. All right, and so now this next one is about a side story about my mother, okay, who used to scare the hell out of me because she liked to wear wigs, and she would bring these styrofoam heads down and they would just pop up out of nowhere, and it was just freaky, okay? She had a whole head full of styrofoam, whole closet full of styrofoam heads all over the floor. So I just decided to write about my torment there. I call it the Heads of Conquest. Heads of Conquest on the floor in the closet. Never tell the story of my mother, the assassin. She wears the scalps of the slain for decoration, or maybe to send a message to the others, best not fuck with the queen. The styrofoam people, extinct, reduced to floating white heads, faceless, appear mysteriously on the dining room table, hauntingly, taunting me, scare me shitless when I turn on the light. Have the ghosts come to reclaim what is theirs? Oh, the styrofoam heads tell no tales. She washes their tresses in the sink, hangs them on a clothesline, reunites the scalps to their owners, adorns them in pink rollers. Others marvel at my mother's sorcery, how she goes from short hair to long overnight, asks if it's her real hair, and she replies, "It is now." So that was the Heads of Conquest. Alright, we're gonna change it up a little bit. Come on. There we go. Okay, so this is one of the first poems. I wrote this one back in 2015, so
Ooh.
I wasn't really sharing my poetry at that time, so this was one of the first ones I ever shared with people. And it was published in Inclusion magazine like in 2016. And it's called I'm My Own Superhero. Because Prince Charming was too late. My innocence was lost and I was already awake. Because my chariot turns into a pumpkin at midnight, and it's too easy to lose glass slippers when you're trying to beat the clock. So I lace mine up now because I'm gonna have to walk. Because knights in shining armor need damsels in distress to justify their existence. And my knight needed more help than me. So I bandaged up his cracked, bloodied armor and set him free. Because I'm seen as the lioness who can hunt her own prey. So no one asks me if I ate today. Because home is a war zone. But it's the war I know. So I'll click my sneakers 3 times to get back there. Because paradise ain't taking no refugees. Because war said the world is a ghetto, and they were right. Because we see the green grass on the other side, but not the shit that fertilized it. Because there is nowhere else to go that doesn't require struggle. Because there is no glory without the battle. Because the babies won't have a choice but to make a difference in this world that we're trying to get away from. Because I saw a rose grow up through the cracks in the concrete. Because hope is all I've got and my optimism is keeping me up. Because for every no, every turn down, every shutout I get, I see 4 more ways I can do it better. Because without vision the people perish. Because I piggybacked off the shoulders of my ancestors and I owe them this much. Because I'm tired but not defeated. So I search to find my crack in the concrete. Because I'm that weed fear couldn't kill. Because my super cape is tested but not torn. Because I have a chance to do it better today than yesterday. Because a sliver of daylight shined on me through that break in the clouds. So I'll be my own superhero. Because I'm the one who can. Because I was made for this.
Wow.
Thank you.
I need that one.
Your name is
Copy it off. And
Alright. Okay, we're gonna really change it up now. Change up the energy a little bit.
Alright.
I've been, I like to experiment with different writing styles. So this one is called Slaughterhouse Hierarchy. Bulls and bears eat sheep. Pigs get slaughtered. Some survive masquerading as donkeys and elephants. Donkeys and elephants economize our worth into votes. Many of us are ostriches, heads buried in the sand, unversed on the ways of bulls and bears, expecting donkeys and elephants to save us, but they'll never set us free. We've been domesticated, kept alive to feed the market. Thank you. All right, now this one I recently wrote within the last couple months. And this one is up on YouTube under Black's Museum. I wrote it for a Black History Month installation, and I'm still floating on what to call this. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna call it, but so for now it's kind of untitled. But I did write it in the style of, if anyone's familiar with the play for colored girls, Ntozake Shange did this whole play with poetry and all of that stuff. So I wrote this poem in the style of her poem, which is Somebody Made Off With All of My Stuff. I wanted to write myself anew, but came home to find my pens were gone, paper gone, laptop too, no tongue, not even a throat to cry out from. Somebody done made off with all of my stuff. Must have happened while I was at work, working for more stuff. 2 jobs just to make it, not to get ahead, just to make it. Early days, late nights, swollen feet, tired eyes, and after all of that, somebody had the nerve to make up with all of my stuff. No art on the walls, no music to cling to on Saturday morning, no books to get lost in, no paints, no canvases, no cheap wine, and my neighbor had the nerve to say, I should be glad they didn't steal my TV. But man, I ain't in there. I'm in the spine of the book, the feel of the word, the smell of the page. Somebody that made off with all of my stuff, and no one started a search party. No Amber Alert, no picture stapled to a telephone pole, and the missing persons department made me out to be some kind of runaway, like I'm the one stole me from me. Somebody help me. I need reinforcements. I need gang. I need Ntozake Shange to wash over me and help me pull off a rescue. Help me get me back. Help me find the dance in my poem, the machete in my word. I remember sassafras, cypress, and indigo made magic in recipes, used them as prescriptions. So I went to my kitchen to conjure up some inspiration. Found my cupboards bare, no bowls, no spoons, no stove. You mean to tell me somebody made off with my stove in broad daylight and nobody saw nothing? How they gonna steal the cinnamon, turmeric, and ginger I need to keep the reflux down and the rhinitis at bay? Who's taking care of me? They need to give me back. Somebody made off with all of my stuff, and this time it was not a man. The lady in green taught me all about that. I would know what to do about a man, but it's a whole system that made off with all of my stuff. Wasn't happy with my mama's stuff and my grandmama's stuff, all the way back to the slaves that were ourselves when we were the commodities being bought and traded. Same system that sold us the bootstrap mentality, when the hardest working people I know still live right here with me between the red lines from 100 years ago, working ourselves to death. And we done heard enough victim blames and shows of shames and shoulda took better care of ourselves to kill us twice. What they trying to leave me with? Some busted down broad eating grease out of styrofoam boxes, preying on a number like it's a retirement plan, doping down to the foolishness on TV, too tired to smell my own stink or fish the remote out the couch cushions to change the channel. Somebody that made off with all of my stuff. And I'm tired of being the electricity that powers this mother, making the rich man richer while I get ink, staining my sheets from falling asleep with the pen in my hand because I got nothing left in the tank for me to rewrite myself. I want to stop running. I want to get off this hamster wheel of consumerism, rest my legs so I have something left to stand on, for somebody that made off with all of my stuff. And I need to take the stolen property that is my sanity, pocket the return on my own from my own labor. Mama Shange, please tell me how I do this. Do I mix in a dollop or a quart of the magic from my bloodline? Was it a pinch or a scoop of stardust with my melanin? Will it help me conjure up those field of dreams type of spirits? If I create something, they will come. I need me back to mix the reds to the blues and sing the yellow in the poem, because there is nothing left if this doesn't work. I just want to keep some of me for myself. to fill up my own photo albums, to have something left to eulogize when I'm gone. I want to share my stuff with whomever I please and live life open-hearted and delicate flower and passion instead of calloused in all the places I've been taken over and over again. Somebody made off with all of my stuff. But when I get me back, I'm installing a low jack. I'm never gonna lose me again. And yes, Mama Shange, I promise, I will find God in myself and I will love her. I will love her fiercely.
Yes.
All right, we'll do this one. So this one I wrote. It was a piece I wrote because Literary Cleveland had like this call for entries. They the topic was, how do we talk to each other? So you could just interpret that topic any way you wanted to. You wrote something about it, and they actually accepted this one, and they had it performed by like 4 professional actors. You know, the words sound so much different when somebody else says them, and they actually act them out and interpreted it, and I'm like, wow, I wrote that? Okay. But it was great. So this one is called Couldn't Hear Past Our Own Pain. He tried to tell me his real feelings, but I couldn't hear past my own pain. His words muted by the sounds my tennis shoes pounding the pavement, fending off school bullies by myself. Couldn't hear over the settling sounds an empty house makes when my dad forgot to pick me up again. Went deaf because of the red stamped past due notices screaming on the dining room table. I suppose he wanted me to be nurturing, to take him in my arms and cradle him, but I couldn't reach past the fact that his phone never rings when the kid's school needs a parent. Couldn't get by the ignored list of things I asked him to help me with. Went blind with my own rage while juggling everything and having him be one more egg tossed into the act that I have to keep from hitting the ground. I tried to tell him I was overwhelmed. Callous skin leathered over, and my words didn't come out soft. I have to keep postponing my breakdown because the world doesn't stop coming for us, and I need him to do something, anything. He couldn't hear me past his pain, past the skinned knees, busted lips, and the boys don't cries. Couldn't reach me through the expectation that boys don't back down from fights. He never got hugs for his cuts or kisses for his boo-boos. Told to suck it up so many times, tears dry up before they reach his eyes. The one person he thought he could share his whole self with called him soft, and the only tool he had in his arsenal was rage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Woo!
Before you come down, can you tell us how you get your ideas?
Yeah, well, for the one that I wrote for the Blacks Museum, now that one I had to kind of work for it because I wanted to do an ode to Ntozake Shange, but you know, I didn't really know how to approach it, and of course it was getting down to the last minute, and I was so exhausted from working that I just started writing about what was wrong. You know, I'm like, I'm too tired to even do this thing that I love to do. I don't have anything left in the tank, and was just kind of contemplating my life and my situation and how I can get out of this trading time for money crap that we have all bought into that isn't really working for most of us. So I ended up, you know, writing about that and doing it in the style that she did her poem in so that it still related. But a lot of these are just things that pop into my mind. Sometimes they start off as journal entries, and then I realize there's an opportunity to take it further and to add some metaphor and, you know, and turn it into something artistic. So,
You mind if I continue the interview?
Sure, go ahead.
Didn't know that was an element, but I like the answer. Go ahead.
All right, let's go back to that first one. Humorous, obviously, right? How long did that take you to write that?
Oh, well, the first one, since it started off from a conversation, I just kind of let the ideas come out.
Yeah.
I don't think I spent, after I jotted down all the stuff that I thought I wanted to say, and then found ways to push it further and to take the idea and make it even more ludicrous after that. So with the editing and the re-editing and I could drop this in there too. Maybe about 2 hours total if we put it all
I'm not
together.
surprised. It seemed like that just flowed.
Well, most of it I jotted down, but then there's a part where I see a place where I can push the metaphor a little harder, and so I come back and edit and go, oh yeah, this would really drive it further, to make it even more insidious or whatever.
I was gonna ask that, like, I kind of fibbed earlier. I have written poetry.
Yeah.
But I'm
We
not
knew you did. I could feel it on you.
I like that.
You can also feel the figs.
That's how my mom always caught me. But when I write stuff, it's more like to please the ear, and like a lot of times it's just sort of it might be even non sequiturs. But I like how the words sound together as opposed to what they mean.
Yeah.
And I always wonder, like, if you're a poet, do you I guess you kind of do, because I kind of heard you say, do you edit? Like, do you edit something and edit and edit?
But there are people who write like couplets and Shakespearean sonnets and that kind of thing that are paying attention to the way that it sounds and the rhythm and the cadence, and it's another way of doing it. There's no right or wrong.
Of course, yeah. Oh, one other comment, the poem about your house getting robbed. Like, I wish I was an illustrator, because I think that would be a really great, like, little animated,
It would.
especially with her narrating it.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really
That's
good.
actually a good
agree.
idea.
We actually did, when I was a
Something like
kid,
that, yeah.
have somebody break into our house. They stole the refrigerator, they stole the stove, they stole...
They really did steal the stove.
Oh yeah, they really did steal the stove. They stole the set, okay? They took
Like, how
like
did
the
nobody
big spoons
see
and left the little
anything?
ones. It was bizarre.
So I hear that in your poem, and I'm just like, this is that metaphor taken so far. They stole my stove and nobody saw it.
They
And
took
that's
the
just
TV.
history, like they did.
Of course, they did take the great big one, because see, we had that great big unit that a lot of people had way back in the day. Okay, I'm about to date myself. It was a human. You could put a body in this thing that had this. It was a big wooden cabinet, and it had a turntable in the top, and underneath there were drawers where you kept your records and of course the TV that was set in there didn't work, or the sound didn't work, so we had to put a little TV on top of the big TV so we could get the sound. It was bad. That's the only thing they didn't steal.
Oh, no, they wasn't stealing that.
It was bad. And then we come to find out that the neighbor says, well, I saw him get away in an El Camino with all that stuff. In an El Camino.
A refrigerator.
Now tell me the one about the 3 little bears.
Do you think you're giving your family and friends a voice, I guess, is my question.
Yes. And I feel a need to do it because, so I'm the last living member of my immediate family. Everybody else is gone. So I'm actually working on a memoir to pay homage to my family. So one of the pieces I'll do in the second set is kind of a history of jazz and an homage to my family at the same time. And then I could do another piece on the next set where that's also kind of part of that experience, that family experience of how we used to do Sunday picnics, that kind of thing.
Sure. Are you published?
Well, I've got one book that is basically self-published. A friend of mine did it, but He did it through Amazon, so it's kind of a self-published thing.
But it's available to the public?
Yes, it's on Amazon. It's called Sagittariously Blunt. Yeah, now don't judge me. That was my very first.
It's still good
It
though.
was the very first one. I think I've improved a little bit since then. But
Yeah, I'm excited about the second one. The second one's gonna have some great shit in it. Yeah, absolutely.
The first one was a little ratchet. It was a
First
little
got some
ratchet.
great stuff in there too.
All right, I'm going to read a piece I've never read live. It's actually the last piece in this book as far as when it was entered. I went to Florida in March, and I was meeting Crosley Green, who's the subject of a different poem that I have read in the stage before in the back in Rialto here. And that was the purpose of the trip. Ever since we connected while Crosley was still in prison, he was on house release now. And he's like, when you coming down? When you coming down? Okay, I'm gonna try. I finally got there, and my book is ready. And that night I was gonna print it up. And I'm looking at my phone, and I found a note of a poem I had worked on and forgotten about from like a month earlier or something. And I'm looking at it and going, maybe. I sent it to my editor, like, do we put this one in? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, okay. So this is actually, true story, but this is the last poem. Both the poem and the story of the poem were true. But it's the last poem entered into my book. It's called Delayed Silence. I'm 48 years old when I learned my high school bully has died. He wasn't the one to beat me up, but his very breath was intimidation. His stare meant to scare. A kind word never passing his lips, and now nothing will pass his lips again. And I can't say I feel sorrow or sadness, though even in high school I don't remember ever wishing him dead, just away. And I guess that is also what death is, away. A place beyond our reach, or theirs. And how I wanted to be beyond his reach. Glazed, lifeless eyes can't intimidate. A cold heart got colder. Cruel lips became forever silent. The quiet stillness I wished for so desperately 30 years ago. Less satisfying in its delay. Thank you. Thank you. I will give you, appreciate that. I will give you one more piece. This is newer than the book. I wrote this one very recently. And normally I might only do one piece per poem, but since there's two of us for the open mic, I think I'll get away with two if you'd like, or one, whatever your preference is.
Okay.
Whatever you would like. All right, so this one is a poem about toys. What's that?
A white Range Rover.
I'm sorry.
A white Range Rover.
Whatever you like. So this is about toys, and really the meaning behind toys of how we teach people to grow up and what is acceptable and how we are allowed to deal with emotions, which certainly has problems for all of us when we're put in these boxes. This is called Plastic Playthings. Snake Eyes, Blowtorch, Roadblock, Superstar, Ken, Beauty Secrets, Barbie, plastic dolls for kids to accessorize, in cotton casual or evening splendor, cheerleader or pajama party, with sunglasses, high heels, purse, helmet, machine gun, flamethrower. You could dress them up for a day at the beach or march them off to war. Societal gender expectations each sold separately. Because dream houses and battlegrounds are not chosen, but assigned to save little girls from the horrors of a plastic battlefield and feminism. To save little boys from the horrors of the kitchen and nonviolent conflict resolution. Because you have to fight but never cook to save the day. I gotta turn a page. The difference between Barbies and G.I. Joes was simply which accessories you put in their hands. A boy could play with dolls, we were told, but only if we didn't find them beautiful. Only if we pulled the trigger and used them to kill. We couldn't put Ken in khaki shorts and a Hawaiian shirt and have him go on vacation or spend time with his kids. But if you accessorize Ken with a green shirt and a backwards hat, an itchy trigger finger and an AR-15, give him a catchy name like Camouflage Ken or Killer Kyle as he rides his Barbie beach cruiser across state lines to kill a couple people. You'd finally have a toy deemed fit for a boy. You know, a real American hero. Everything might be fantastic when you're made of plastic, but when the bullets and bodies are real, the figures still lie lifeless on the ground. A little boy still playing with his deadly toys, as white rage and toxic masculinity turn dream houses into nightmares. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do I have one book?
Do you have one?
No, I have not.
This is the newest one. I don't know if you have one.
Well, this is a notebook.
I think you
Oh,
do.
that's a notebook.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just my notebook. Plastic Playthings isn't in a book. This is whatever. This is just out.
That is-
He's a fucking poet. You keep writing shit. Like, I just printed and like, damn it, I gotta pull my life. And, too late for that book. There'll be another one at some point in time. All right, so next I'm gonna welcome onto the stage the amazing Vision. Thank you.
Make sure that's in a book.
That's very good.
Thank you.
Hey, I want one of these in my house. I'm not tall. Hello. Hello.
You hear
Okay.
how she's barely
Hello?
whispering, but back on that stage.
She was Shakespearean.
Right.
I was. Okay. So, this is my book. It's called With Vision. And this poem, I need to prove it and picture you take. It's called Reality.
Nice.
And it's actually a poem that I wrote for my brother. Am I not micing right?
No, you're good. I'm gonna bring it down.
Just a little bit? Okay.
Okay, now don't be teasing us with this little soft voice and then come out and blow us out. you need to get
Some
in
of us know you.
get in a spot and sit there.
Okay. So, just within the past week has been the anniversary of my brother's passing. He was an addict. So, this poem I wrote for people who may have lost someone to addiction. It's called Reality. Sometimes when I close my eyes, I can still see your face. I can still see your eyes so vividly, filled with the childlike innocence that shone through past all the pain I knew your heart has felt. I can still hear the hidden messages of your words that I still spend time attempting to understand and dissect, holding tight to all the little moments as I tried to wipe away all the pain of the hand called existence that you had been dealt. But the fact is, all we have is reality. Asking myself what happened to how did we get to a point where you simply couldn't fight anymore. But perhaps it would be a moot point at this point. I would sit and watch you, make promises to you that I realized now that I had no place in this world to make, and perhaps I was being hypocritical by saying that I understood that I was powerless because I watched your life become more and more unmanageable, but yet I would analyze and strategize about what I could do to fix it, and go so far as to ask God what were the next best steps for me to take, but the fact is all we have is reality. And I have accepted the fact that you are gone. At least I think. But even after a period of time, at least a couple of the 5 stages of grief come back to visit me yet another time, and I appreciate, accept, and hear the phrases people have said to me like, hold on to the memories. They're not gone. They'll always be alive in your heart. And while I know this is true, there's a part of me that stays frustrated with the fact that the thoughts of wishing you were still here still consume my mind, but the fact is, all we have is reality. And the reality is, for most of your life, you struggled to live in a world that did not seem like it was a right fit for you. Where fitting into the world around you was like attempting to step in, walk in, and tie in and run in shoes that were too small or too big for you. And while I cannot lie, I tried to be present in every moment in time and space that I was blessed to have you. I couldn't help but drift off into the dream world of the different life that my mind's eye created for you. But the fact is, all we have is reality. And I bore the burden of watching you stumble and fall at times. I watched you from up close and I watched you from afar, praying that it would be the absolute last time. Watching you lock yourself back into your self-imposed prison yet another time, feeling like I had lost you as I stood right there, right by your side. Because I wasn't quite sure how much longer my heart or your body could last after all you had put them through the last time. But the fact is, all we have is reality. But truly and sincerely, Only by the grace of God goes I. That if on any of those given days that I too strayed, not too played, not too lingered in places I should not have stayed, any of those could have been my final day in time. So I will battle and defeat my pain. And through my own healing and battling of this disease, I will forever honor your name out loud and in my mind, and I will bring myself to a place where I smile and remembrance of you, because you were so much more than meets the eye. Because the fact is, all we have is reality. And as I stare down at what you left for me to hold, what I once appeared to be shattered pieces of my world and my reality, I now see they are more like puzzle pieces that you left me. I must piece them together to understand what God wanted for me to perceive, and while with the loss of you, when a larger than life piece of me, there is a strength that I have found in myself to stay strong, part of which came from all the love that you gave to me, because the fact is, all we have is reality. And I will ask God to grant me the serenity to accept the fact that you being gone is something that I cannot change. But I will change the things within myself that I can, and pray for the wisdom to focus on the beauty of everything that I learned from you, every smile that I got from you, every conversation, every laugh that I shared with you. And on God, I will lean on this journey to empower myself and others to keep our minds, bodies, and souls clean and enjoy every moment, each and every moment, just for the day. Because the fact is, all we have is reality. I don't know if anybody has ever known someone that battled addiction, but I went through a phase where I felt like I could fix it. And I started taking him to meetings, and he would go, he was going. And it had to come from within him, but it seemed like once he really got it and he started going, he died of an aneurysm, in the midst of it. And I was like, dang. But I had to shift my focus. I was like, he was on his journey to wellness, so I can't even complain. I can complain, but what I'm saying, it was and it's weird because I was living in Georgia. And I got a divorce because my husband had misplaced his mind. My ex-husband had misplaced his mind. And, when I came back, it was like he was sick. And I knew I was supposed to come back here, come to Cleveland. I was dodging coming back to Cleveland. I did not want to come back to Cleveland. But me coming back to Cleveland allowed me to spend his last few years with him. So it was I was supposed to be here. So, the journey, trying to run from your journey, but you can't run from your journey. The road is laid out in front of you. And when you run off the road, you end up tripping and falling.
You just run into another journey.
Yeah, but you just get detoured right back. Journey. You just get detoured right back. It just takes you long. So this is a poem I wrote for my son. It's an oldie but goodie. It's called Godson. Sometimes I feel like I owe you an apology. An apology for the fact that you came into this world during a time where I was lacking some direction. See, my love was mistaken and my innocence was taken. This legal fornication was not real love, but merely an indiscretion. See, my unfulfilled need for a male's embrace put me in a 40-week race to learn everything it is I need to know about how to raise a godly man. And while I popped prenatal pills and everything I had to do to go to battle just for you, my other half dropped his sword, his shield, and his staff, and then he ran directly into the bosom of fear where he stayed. Now trust me, son, this is not at all when I wanted for you. See, I always did very well in school, and I know that I was listening to math class when they said that 1 + 1 + 1 = 3, and not 2. But here we are, just the two of us, with no stronger love than the love that is shared between the two of us. But know that it is in love when I push you, son, for the need for you to turn from the godly prince that you are to the godly king that you will one day be with the quickness is indeed a must. And you are not as alone as you might feel at times, because in God you must learn to trust. And I wish I had a magic potion, but I don't. A magic potion to remove the stigma that will be placed over your head because you are the child of a single mother. Or a magic potion to remove the incompleteness I know your soul must feel at times because you came into this world automatically looking for two, and you found me, but you did not find the other. But I would be setting you up to be a loser if I allowed you to use it for an excuse or for to one moment argue that any of your limitations. Instead, I put you twice as hard because the whole entire world is watching you. So you must exceed any and all expectations. The expectation that you will become an angry black man rotting in jail instead of peaceful graduating from the top of your class from Yale or Cleveland State. Mm-hmm. The expectation that you'll be robbing and looting a variety of businesses, lest I say you're already trying to figure out how to start your own business. The expectation that you will have no real love for yourself or no real love for any other black man. No, son. I will put you in the environment with other black men who love you and legitimately feel the need to see you succeed, and then your eyes will see that your actions of your father do not match the actions of every black man. Just know that he does love you. He just don't quite know how to show you. Block it out when you think you cannot do it. Block it out when you feel the need to run. Block it out when you feel less than adequate. Block it out because you are God's son. You are Ntozake, which means friend of the creator. You are the cream of this whole entire planet Earth, its creator and its maker. So you cannot be any less than adequate in life's race because you have the Almighty on your side, for surely he whom thou befriended most surely will not be disgraced. So I guess in fact no apology is necessary. Because your fate will be better than good or great or ordinary. Your fate will be revolutionary. Yes, you are being raised in a single parent household, but you are the divine child of God. So I make it real. Because it's what I know and it's what I feel. By etching in stone, I place in the words of this poem that anything you touch, my son, from here on out will indeed turn to gold. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, once again, I would like to welcome Danielle.
Hello again, everyone.
Hello.
All right, okay. I don't know if I'm gonna hit you guys with that one tonight.
Oh, see now. You almost have to after you say that.
All right, we're gonna start from a different perspective at this point. All right, I call this one Death March.
Yeah.
Every day we live, we get one step closer to dying. Well, if this life be a death march, oh, it will not go gentle into that good night. It will not be all elegance and class. My death march cuss a little. The walk of a badass. See, it starts slow. Brass horns drag something bluesy, low, gritty. The women humming deep, guttural, slave-style hymnal catharsis for the living, moves saints and sinners alike, acknowledges their grief, draws the winos in from their stoops with their brown paper bag bottle offerings. They pour one out for your girl. A small crowd gathers along the street. Then the tempo quickens, the drums come in. Santana shreds over break beats, turns second line parade party at my death march. Oh, this ain't no place for amazing grace. I'm not a wretch and I'm not sorry. This death march is not a soapbox grandstand for rando preachers to eulogize my good time with promises of brimstone, hellfire, scare my fellow sinners into saints, but they can't. I'll come back and flip all this shit over. My death march be haunted. We condomble up in here. Parasol sway up in here. Handkerchiefs wave up in here. My death march be a whole movement. Petition Jesus to Lazarus my flesh so I die again next year and run this whole party back one more again.
Yeah.
Thank you. Alright, so I had said earlier I'm gonna share some of the poems that I'm writing about my family. This one is called Sunday Service. I know we just went from saying Death March to Sunday Service. But you know what? It all exists within my family. My family, we were not religious people. Well, they started off religious, and then somewhere along the way they, abandoned it, gave up on it or whatnot. And so I mean, I guess you could say they considered themselves sinners more because they had a good time with it. They had a very good time with it. So this one is Sunday Service. Barbecue smoke signals summon Sunday sinners from their slumber. Today, backyard is church. No one is formally invited, but everyone will come through. All are welcome in this sanctuary. Come as you are. The gospel of rhythms dusts our blues. We take communion, deviled eggs on the body, and the blood, VO and red solo. Parishioners bring side dish offerings, lay them along the altar. Those who can't cook bring plates, cups, and ice. Others bring themselves, their love and laughter. Every offering is just enough. There'll be spades and tonk for the kids, but bid whist is grown folks' biz. Half stepping, rise and fly, slapping cards and telling lies. Turn to your neighbor, say, neighbor. It's sacrilegious to renege in this house. We commiserate, feed our faces, and slap our thighs when we laugh from the gut. Pour one out for our dearly departed. Our time here is short, so we hug necks and kiss cheeks in this fellowship. There's always a to-go plate wrapped in foil. Guests take what they need from the bag of bags under the kitchen sink. The sun bleeds orange across the Mount Pleasant skyline. The breeze carries music and laughter on its wind. We know these are the best days of our lives. This is the day the Lord hath made. Let the church say amen. Amen. My granddad used to love to pull out the grill and just start something on a Sunday, and before you know it, we'd have a backyard full of people. Never knew how it got there. We're like, oh, we need side dishes. Look at it.
Is that why you always ask me to bring plates? I'm just playing.
I mean, I've never seen you actually hook anything up in the kitchen.
I can't cook. I just try not to. Let people know.
Okay, well, hey, your secret is safe with me. Now this one is a little bit longer. I guess we'll go on ahead and do this one. Now this one is a poem that I wrote back in maybe 2016, 2017. A friend of mine was doing a program about jazz, and because he's a jazz historian, so he said, hey, I would love it if you would write a poem about jazz. And I'm thinking, I don't know how to write a poem about jazz. And it just so happened that at the time I was reading a Baldwin book, shoot, I can't think of it. It was about the jazz musician that committed suicide. I can't think of the name of it right now. But in the beginning of that book, he actually kind of takes you into this scene of this little nightclub, and the band is playing, and you know, and I'm like, oh, that's how I get into the energy of this thing. So, but this one, I combine the history of jazz with, you know, an homage to my family, since, you know, pretty much since everybody's gone, if I want to just kind of channel them or remember them, I do literally go to the crate of records and pull something out and play it, and it's usually jazz. So this one is called Diggin' in the Crates. Digging in the crates, or was I time traveling? Searching for that soft crackle, the much preferred sound of needle on vinyl. A jazz tune playing softly in the background was the soundtrack to our lives. Digging in the crates, or was I time traveling? Searching for the descendants of the Harlem Renaissance, that first generation after we found our voice. Jazz was our griot that memorized our names and documented our lineage and its rhythms, telling our stories from Africa to America in drum beats and heartbeats, in spirituals and folk marches, documenting black spirit using only the black keys, from the blues to ragtime to hard times and good times, remembering the warmth of other suns, long bus rides and greasy brown paper bags. I was digging in the crates. I was time traveling, searching for the place where pyramids, mud huts, and tenements exist concurrently within the same 5 lines. Every song is a conversation. Every instrument contributes to the story. Staves, notes, and clefs are hieroglyphs that document the greatness of our story. But you got a connected spirit to understand the conversation, baby. In the background, a horn asked permission to add to the story while I was digging in the crates. Time traveling to the place where the walking bass replaced the tuba on the bandstand, and tormented souls become genius in expression, when love was always complicated, but we didn't give up on each other. We were all we had, and we were enough. I was digging in the crates. Correction, time traveling. I found my grandparents in their heyday. They didn't have much, but they were proud and they were emerging. My mother, a little girl, all pressed hair, saddle shoes, and petticoats, back when you dressed up to go downtown because Black America had something to prove. I found my grandfather's gates in the bass line of a jazz tune, smooth, steady, and keeping the family's time. I found my uncle on piano, playing a jaunty tune, witty and sarcastic, mocking our tragedy so that we never take ourselves too seriously. I found my grandmother's passion in the rim shot of a drum solo, the heartbeat of the family, full of booms, clashes, and escalations that mimic thunder and lightning, or maybe the finale of a fireworks show. And yes, Langston, a dream deferred does explode. And then there's my mother, wailing like a siren, a horn flare, fire, guttural, urgent, trapped between tradition and destiny, and all she could do was wail. I was digging in the crates. Correction, time traveling, listening for that story Jazz the Griot told me about jam sessions and intimate smoky nightclubs where musicians don't have to know each other to cipher. Improvisation is encouraged, and it don't matter if you don't have the horn you need to make the sound you want, just scat that part. And if you brought your axe and you know what you're doing, just jump on in and get some. I was digging in the crates, listening for our story sewn into the fabric of the music, where they talked about my grandmother's home cooking for members of Ellington's band while they crashed at our house during road trips because they couldn't stay at the hotel they just played at. Jazz the Griot, tell me that story again, when Paul Gonsalves fell into the Christmas tree after partying too hard with my granddad, because we don't have the pictures anymore. They were lost in the fire while I was digging in the crates. Time traveling, searching for the time Jazz the Griot told of my future present existence, brooding in the minor keys. I was digging in the crates, searching for purpose, taking comfort in our stories, feeling a little less alone. I was digging in the crates, channeling advice from adultier adults than myself. I was time traveling because that's the only place where they're all still alive, still well, and their world is still full of possibilities. I was digging in the crates because I miss them.
Best poem ever.
Now, sometimes when I do that poem, I'll play in the background Miles Davis's "So What," as it starts off nice and slow, like, and then by the time I get to the part where I escalate, the horns are coming in and escalating. It's like perfect. But then it doesn't end nice, you know. It would be nice if I had somebody to just kind of turn the music down slowly, you know. But I forgot about this. I used to slam with this poem. So I do suffer from depression and anxiety. And I used to be late for everything. Today was, it was different.
It was legitimate.
I told you that if you were late, though, you had to lead in. You could just walk up on the stage and boom.
But I used to be chronically late for everything. And then I just sat down one day and made a list of all the stuff that happened. Like, why was I late today? Like, I woke up on time. I was in the shower on time. I even got out of the shower on time. It was the lotion. You know, when I'm putting the lotion on and trying to get my socks on, it just, somewhere I lose time. So I literally made a list of all the stuff that was going through my mind where, you know, that made me run late.
Did the poem, writing the poem, make you late for where you were?
I was already late.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't gonna, you know. But, so yeah, this was called I'm Late. Truth is, I'm late. I'm late because I didn't want to come. It's not that I don't want to see you, but seeing you requires me to put on a bra and shoes, and really, that's just all too much for me right now. Truth is, I'm overwhelmed. I'm so confused. I can't differentiate trash from truth. Not sleeping well, too much on my plate. I wake up, I see the sun, I know I'm already late. Truth is, I'm late because I bought into a faulty version of the real world. And there is no lemon law to return shitty philosophies, where adulthood is measured in sacrifices. Hopes and dreams are burnt offerings to the gods of gainful employment who keep us so broke and so busy that we can't even see. We're running the hamster wheel of consumerism, replacing real connections for the trace of trinkets and shiny things. I'm late because my soul's attempts to regain my sanity have made me late for my reality. Truth is, I'm late because unfinished masterpieces have been locked in my head so long that they scream out at inappropriate times. They talk to each other loudly across my crowded head of thoughts. They've created their own language, wrote a new code that unplugged my heart from the matrix, and now they're trying to commandeer my feet, making it increasingly impossible to be places in other people's time. Truth is, I'm late because the shit I should be doing had an epic battle with the shit I want to be doing, and what you see before you are the fragments of myself that didn't die in the compromise. Truth is, I don't like being late, and I'm ashamed of disrespecting other people's time. I don't mean to make other people feel unimportant, but I'm just learning how to be important, and I'm late because our agendas just overlapped. I'm late because I contemplated not coming, trying to determine which events to cancel and which ones my fatigue level will allow me to appreciate. I'm late because I've been live channeling Auntie Maxine, reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time. Truth is, I really should have canceled. When I walked my demons this morning, anxiety got off her chain, and fuck this shit dragged me halfway down the block. So yes, I'm late. But if I showed up for you at all, well, congratulations. You made the cut.
That is about that's like my second thing. Because it's so real.
Yeah.
Well, for the last one, we're going to take another hard left turn.
You may take something?
Huh?
You may take anything?
Oh, no, that's fine. So yeah, this one is one that I actually, as we were talking about editing and thinking about, I don't even know if this rhymes. I don't know, but this one actually came to me with the rhythm in my head first, so it was a different thing, and I did have to find words to fit the cadence, the rhythm that I wanted. So I call this one Slut Shamin. Hypocrites know you need to stop slut shaming. Boys, stop shaming these sluts. Cause if you didn't need her, then she wouldn't exist, and now you walking around like you wasn't trying to hit. You acting like you weren't the one all up in her DM. You acting like you weren't the one that asked for her digits. You acting like your hands didn't fill up her business, and then when she gave in, you too good to be with her? Fickle ass. Know you need to stop slut shaming? Boys, stop shaming these sluts. Cause if you didn't need her, then she wouldn't exist, and now you walking around like you wasn't trying to hit. See, she got daddy issues and can't treat a man right. You didn't have a daddy either and can't be a man right. You judge her cause she easy with the sex and the stroking, like you the only one around here that's allowed to be broken. Pious ass, know you need to stop slut shaming? Boys, stop shaming these sluts. Cause if you didn't need her, then she wouldn't exist, and now you're walking around like you wasn't trying to hit. Say she's not wife material, so you can't be with her. You're so deep fried and full of shit. Instead of trying to take her down, what if you could build her up? Show her what a man's about. Show her that her true value's not in giving it up. Promote the ways that she's more than enough. But if if you've ever had the benefit of getting serviced by a slut, do yourself a favor, son, and keep your big mouth shut. You threw up the bat signal when a slut flew in, gave you pleasure that no other girl was trying to give. But grateful ass, no, you need to stop slut shaming. Boy, stop shaming these sluts. Because if you didn't need her, then she wouldn't exist. And now you're walking around like you wasn't trying to hit. Say you want a good woman, but you're not a good man. Trying to hold her up to standards you don't hold for yourself. You know you went with the slut because she giving it up. Passed up a good girl like she wanted too much. The numbers are all based on supply and demand. If it wasn't for her service, you'd be loving your hand. If there were no slut hounds, there'd be no sluts left. Because you can't be a slut by yourself. You can't change a hoe to a housewife. She can't change a court jester to a king. You are the company that you keep, so you lay down with her. She's your equal.
My favorite poem.
Thanks, everybody. Anybody have any questions or anything else?
So what?
Okay.
That signal.
Yeah.
Is that available on Amazon? Do people buy it?
You just put up the bats.
Batman might need to know that if he puts up the bat signal, the wrong, something might happen and someone might blind.
Hey, you know, some guys just need a hero for the night. But you can't just brush her off after that. Like, you know, I mean, you know, you don't have to talk bad about her. She served a purpose.
She did a job.
Just let her be, you know?
Yeah, that's all.
That's what you call a serious funny poem.
I like it. It's a good title.
It's like the best. It's one of the best.
All right, beautiful humans. This is Danielle Nicole Nikki Dixon.
Digging in the Crates is a masterpiece.
Thank you.
I love
It
that
is.
one. That's the one.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for making the trip. Come
Oh,
back
yeah.
again.
Anytime. This is great.